All right, one night down. It is the second day here that I've been home, and the wheels are in motion to go get Bonnie and Emma at the trailhead. It is 10 o'clock currently. The sun has still not risen, but it is starting to, well, it's not quite there yet. Let me show you Denali here. Let me see. And you can see the mountains over there. And you can see that pink right there. It's working its way down as the sun rises. That will start illuminating on the mountains there. Super pretty. I've got a few things to do this morning. I'm going to fill the chainsaw with gas and oil, the little Poulan, take it with me. There was a couple trees that I want to get out of the way on the trail, on the upper part of the trail. I'm going to get going this morning so I won't be late. Well, I traded out the other Bearcat. I don't know if you guys could tell the difference. This is our newer one. The only reason I switched out, I'm going to do the trail today with this one, is it already had the 2-up seat on it for Bonnie. And what I do in those situations is I'll pull this pup trailer, and the box that would go in the place of the 2-up seat I want with me, because it has tools. I can put the chainsaw in there, keeps it out of the elements, bungees, straps, on and on and on. So now I've got a little bit extra storage space. I can also put some more stuff in there, supplies as we haul. And yeah, this one's ready to go. The scene this morning is just breathtaking. I'm so happy to be home. So gorgeous back there. It is chilly this morning. I think the thermometer read right around 9 or 10 Fahrenheit, and that's going to make it super cold at the trailhead. Thankfully, I'm picking Bonnie up at around 1 p.m. The sun should be rising here soon, hopefully. I think it rises this time of year. I'd have to look at my weather records, but I think it rises this time of year somewhere right in there at around 11, maybe a few minutes after 11. So it'll rise up and it sinks down there. Very, very short days out here, guys. But that sun does make a difference. As soon as that sun comes up, you can feel the warmth if you're standing in it. All right, we just got back. I didn't video anything down at the trailhead because it was so cold, huh?
It was freezing.
Yeah, but she's so excited to be home. Yeah, successful trip.
Daddy,
I've got to.
Snow.
Nice. I've got to help Bonnie put all this stuff away. We've got some refrigerated stuff and just things that shouldn't freeze. Are you excited to be home?
Yeah.
What's the best thing about being home?
The snow and our cabin and Piper icicles.
And the icicles. She wants me to go get that icicle right there.
It's just a short mouth.
I don't know if I can reach it.
You can't get it.
I'm gonna try to jump for it. Got it.
I'm gonna break it in half for Piper.
All right. What time is it? It is 2:22, and you can see the sun is getting ready to dip behind Bear Point there. Yep, just like I said, it rose this morning right there. Little arc, little tiny arc. Well, now that we're all home and settled, for the most part, got a few chores to do. One of them is getting the root cellar shoveled out. It is not bad this year. There's definitely a crust down, let's see, 6 to 8 inches. There's a nice layer of fluff, and then there's a crust. I was noticing that Emma was don't run into the sled. Well, it knocked my phone off of its precarious tripod. I got Emma sledding down the hill here, and she bumped the otter sled. This is what I have my phone set up on, leaning against this. All right, don't bump into it anymore. As I was saying, I was noticing Emma being able to walk through the snow and stand on the crust, but it won't support my weight. So
Daddy,
nice work. Nice work.
Piper, come. Piper. Piper, come.
It also appears that there was maybe a time when it snowed and then it started raining and then it froze. You can see this layer of ice here. I've noticed it's been on everything out here. So kind of just tells you what the weather did while you were gone, reading the different layers of snow and ice. I think hey, I found it. I knew I had a screw down here somewhere. All right. Nice little pile of leaves up against the door. I've got to get a few more screws out and we'll get it opened up. Let me get these leaves out of the way. I want to save them for the most part. I probably don't need this many. Oh, forgot. Just gotta look. Got a little latch up there. There we go. Oh, it's kind of dark in here. Okay, I came back with some light. As you can see, I've got a headlamp on. So, we put all of our spray cans. There's some deck or siding finish, some different cans of paint, stuff like that. In here, we designated this, I hope they lasted well, potatoes. These are our garden potatoes. Some red there and some, are those molding? Oh, they are molding. Son of a gun. well, just starting to mold. So it's just too freaking wet in this cellar. But
Starting to mold?
some of the potatoes, yeah.
Oh. Can I see them?
Yeah. See that one right there? It's got some mold on it. So we need to start using those up or get them into a drier location. All right, so I've got to get the contents of this bag and the contents of that ice chest out there by Emma into these ice chests. We got some romaine in there. All right, one project almost done. It's another gorgeous day in paradise here. Denali and the rest of the mountains are out. The alpenglow this morning was spectacular. So this morning, my chore is to get water. We have a very limited supply of water, although, you know, we could always melt snow and use that for water. But I bought a case of drinking water in town, and we're blowing through it pretty fast because we're using it to brush our teeth, giving some to Piper, using it for, you know, hot drinks at night, cider, cocoa. Bonnie's using it for coffee, so it's going pretty fast. We have no water supply out here yet, no running water except the lake. So if you guys have seen any of our past videos, past winter videos, you guys know that we harvest water from the lake during the winter time, and that is the chore today. Not just getting water, but punching a hole into the lake. So I have an ice auger, and we're going to go ahead and punch a few holes in, and then I'll chip out in between those holes and make a nice big hole to where I can drop a pump down in and whatnot. Now, as you can see, the track was already down here once. I walked on the lake ice with a couple of tools very carefully, make sure that the ice was capable of holding myself and the snowmobile. I was pretty confident that it was, but I always want to be careful out here. There's no rescue team to come get me off the ice or get the snowmobile out of the lake. So I have this piece of plywood that we use for a cover, and I'll just lay it on the ground like that on the ice. I'll kind of scribe a line around the perimeter. I don't want to cut exactly to that line because then my plywood will have nothing to set on. So I will go inside of that line about 2 inches from every edge, and then I will ice auger some holes in there. Now I've already chipped through the first layer when I was down here testing, and there's about a layer of maybe 2 inches of ice and then a little bit of overflow. Overflow is what happens when weight gets put on the ice. So the lake will freeze over, right? First of the season. And then we get some snow typically. And that weight of that snow will push the ice down and cause water to come up through ice cracks or from the edge or wherever, and then overflow. So now you've got a layer of ice underneath, a layer of water. Typically it starts turning to slush. Then the top of that water will freeze again, and maybe it snows again, and you get that cycle throughout the winter. So you can have several layers of overflow. I'll find out as I ice auger down through that. It reveals, you know, how many layers there were or there are of overflow. I'm just curious how thick overall the ice is, so we're gonna find out here. Bought this ice auger off of Facebook Marketplace. Looks pretty new. In the past, I've had my buddy Kyle out here to help me open the place up, and he's got an attachment for the ice auger for his drill, his cordless drill, and that takes the work out of it. But I don't have that attachment. I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I'll get that to the edge and see how this stuff works. All right, I hit my first, like I said, 2 inches of ice, went through, got some overflow. You know, I'm going to mark all my holes first so that I don't lose my lines with all the slush and the water. out of shape. Haven't done anything for the last 3 months. That's not true. I've done a little work. I can see why people will buy that attachment and use a cordless drill. Whew. This ice is fairly thick. We must have had a good freeze, say November. Come on. Hey, I made it. Sweet. I feel like I was right about to the top of the fins, so let's measure that. I was about right there. What is that, 16 inches? 18 inches of ice. So there's like 2 inches of top ice, about 2 to 3 inches of overflow. Let's call that a total of 5. If we're saying, this is a rough guesstimate, right? Maybe 18 inches from top to bottom, minus 5. Looking at 12 to 13 inches of base ice on the lake. That's pretty good. You could drive a truck on this easily. If I'm looking a little wild and crazy with the auger, it's because I've literally never used one before. I've used lots of different augers. Usually they're attached to some kind of machinery. So this is my first time using an ice auger. Piper's out here just having a good old time. Come here, Piper. Come here, Piper girl. How you doing? You looking for mice? Yeah? Piper is a great mouser. Once she gets, just settled in at home, kind of like we're getting, she'll start finding all the hot spots for the mice and start getting them, won't you, girl? Yeah. All right, go, go, go. All right, I gotta get back to work. Starting to feel a little warm. It is about 12 degrees this morning. Plenty chilly. But when you have all the layers on, it's really easy to work up a sweat. You can see all my scribed lines and my 4 drilled holes there. I'll show you the finished product. All right, it didn't take much chipping at all. I got this last piece of ice here. There we go. Just scooped out. It's not a perfectly square-shaped hole, but it will do. Yeah, I can chip a little bit more of those corners off. Not too worried about it. You can see all the different layers in there. All right. And that top layer, look, like a layer of frosting. That's when it snows on top of some overflow. It gets real slushy, and then it freezes. That's what that's from. So it's like frozen slush as opposed to just frozen water. All right, now for the boring part. Fill in the totes with water. Got the middle tote filled. I filled 2 more of these totes. I want to say these totes are like 35 gallon. We don't fill them all the way up, so we're getting about 30 gallons per tote.
Hi.
Emma having a blast out here. So 3 totes times 30, we're roughly hauling 90 gallons of water at a time. I have a 100 gallon freshwater tank in my crawl space, so this will mostly fill it. I'm going to do this one load one time, then I will charge my system with water. I have to fill the hot water heater and fill all the lines and stuff. I want to make sure all that is good. That will drain the tank roughly 50 gallons of it, and then I'll come and get another load and top it off, and that should be good for water. I have a little issue with the batteries, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the cabin. Now I always want to make sure I can feel a little air coming out of that, and I do. I feel air. That means that neither this line nor that line is clogged. It is filling the tank properly. All right, we're in my cabin. So as I was saying, I have a battery issue. Right now, they're reading 13.5. That is because I've got a charger on them. Let me get a light in here. So I usually have on my list to fill all the batteries with water before we leave. And these ones are easy. You can see all caps come off. I can't quite see it, but it is bubbling just a hair. I don't know if I showed it in my coming home video. The batteries were at like 3 volts. Yeah, come to think of it, I did. And most people will say the battery's dead. I would agree. That's terrible. You never want to see your battery at that. It's dead, replace it. I did revive batteries before that were like that. The Lodge batteries before we went solar and had all that. We've got 4 golf cart batteries, the 6 volt. And I came back one time and they were like, I think there were 4 volts. It was terrible. And I was able to revive them. I filled it up with distilled water, all the cells, and I charged it with the car charger, the car battery charger at 50 volts for 50 amps. I'm sorry, at 50 amps for a full day, 2 days, maybe 3 days, I can't remember. And I revived those batteries and now they're working fine. So people that say you can't revive a battery, it depends on the situation, depends on the condition, and everything else, but it can be done. I know it firsthand. So let me hop down here. That's what I'm trying to do with those batteries. I'm trying to revive them. All right, now to the water tank. Just like I said, look at that line there. There's the water line right there, right at 90 gallons. So I've got a 12 volt pump here, a little pressure tank for our cabin. It's like a little 5 gallon pressure tank. And there's the manifold. The lines go into each individual thing. I have a switch for it right there. Let me see. That would just be releasing an airlock. Yep, there we go. So it's trying to come through the cold line, but most of the water is being forced to the hot water heater right now. Okay, so right above my wood stove here, I've got my copper coil, which heats my water. A regular hot water tank. You just come out the low point drain, and then you do the coil around the chimney, back into where the pressure relief valve is typically at. You can see I did a T off of there and put the pressure relief back on. Okay, the system is charged. No leaks anywhere. I bled all the air out of all the lines. And as you can see, yeah, we are, well, not quite down to 40. So next I will go get one more load of water. We'll top off this tank. The cabin is ready to rock and roll. One last chore for the day. It's not that late really, but the sun has officially set. Maybe you can see it behind me here. The sun is still shining just a touch on the Talkeetna Mountains there. But I'm getting cold. I've been working hard. I'm tired, so it's gonna be a short day. That's the way winters are out here. Not a lot of daylight. You use your headlamp a lot in the morning and in the evening. I mean, I could work in the night, but the workout here is a lot more physical, and so you just do shorter days. You just take off little chunks at a time each day. I got our cabin full of water and the system all pumped and primed. Now we've got flowing water, running water, I should say. I've been burning the wood stove a lot the last few days to drive the cold out of the walls, so we're low on firewood, and that's what I'm doing. I will chop up a little bit. My wood stove likes the wood a little bit smaller than Zach's wood stove, so I just cut some of these pieces in half and call it good. So we'll do that, and I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks guys for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That really helps this video and all of our other videos on our channel do well. So make sure to give it a thumbs up. Even if you're watching on TV, use your remote, give it a thumbs up. That means a lot to us, and that really helps us out. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bramante Brothers.
Gotta get the camera.